And a well-deserved champagne shower for Lewis Hamilton. For the first time this season, it's not Sebastian Vettel on the top step of the podium. And congratulations to Mark Webber as well. You can't discount what an incredible drive that was from the Australian, who started right at the back, 18th on the grid. He goes all the way to third. An incredible Grand Prix from start to finish, but particularly amazing with just a few laps to go. And I'm here with the McLaren team principal, Martin Whitmarsh. Martin, plenty of messages coming into us from people saying they've been leaping around their living rooms this morning. Talk us through the emotions on the pit wall.
Well, there are all sorts of emotions. You know, it's been a challenging weekend, and I think the races now, there's so much action. You've got so many stops, you've got to monitor the tyres, you've just got to get it slightly wrong and you're toast. So I think Lewis and Jenson drove brilliant races. I think it was just a charging race and fantastic. The first win of the year is a really important one. Emotionally, you always dread a year where you're not going to win races. So to win the first one for the team, I think for the work that everyone's done in the last 6 weeks, just been an amazing effort by everyone, so it's a reward for that, so I'm delighted for everyone.
Well, you can relax now. You're not going to be winless in 2011, and Ross Brawn, who's in charge of Mercedes, said at the start of the year, with these new regulations, you can look very foolish very easily. On the flip side, you can look pretty clever pretty easily as well. And when we take a look at what happened to your car before this Grand Prix, this shows you how far McLaren have come today. If you're just waking up and you only saw the last few laps, these were the scenes inside the garage. That's Lewis Hamilton's car. With seconds to go until the car had to be on the grid, Martin's worked out that maybe with about 10 seconds to spare, Lewis made it onto the grid. Just talk us through what happened here, Martin.
Okay, normal routine. Just before we were out, we'd started the engine, no problem, but clearly it was flooded. You can see the guys here. We had to respond very tight against, to dismantle the car, to get in there, take all that fuel out, make sure it wasn't flooded and get out, and you've just got the clock ticking. We got out with seconds to spare, and that was not the greatest way to start our afternoon, but the boys did a great job.
Absolutely, but once the afternoon did start, it started in style, particularly for Lewis Hamilton, overtaking people up and down the track. A rather tasty one on his teammate here. Did you enjoy this one?
No, I don't ever enjoy our cars overtaking. I think when you watch this live, it's pretty scary because they're centimetres away from catastrophe. But again, when they're there to race, you can see they're racing each other. I think that's the philosophy of this team. We want both of our guys out there flat out, and it just made a fantastic afternoon. Fortunately, they got past cleanly.
Well, Lewis Hamilton was flat out all afternoon and getting past all of these guys cleanly, considering where his head must have been at, not even knowing if he was going to be involved in this Grand Prix with a few minutes to go. How impressed have you been with his driving this afternoon?
No, I think Lewis is, he just sits in the car, he lets the team do the job, and he would have been focusing on his start whilst all the back of his car was dismantled. So, fantastic job by him, really just to stay calm, stay focused. A few minutes later, made a great start, got into the lead, raced up, got going with a 1-2 position. That was fantastic. Frankly, the first stop and that part of the race went wrong for us, and then to recover from there meant really great effort from the team and great effort from the drivers.
And that was the moment that Lewis Hamilton jumped Sebastian Vettel on the track. Lewis Hamilton went on to win this Grand Prix. In some ways, it's been a little bit sort of sweet and sour for you, though, today. Jenson Button, just talk us through what happened here. You told me that actually Jenson shouldn't have been coming into the pits at this point anyway.
No, the first stop, I don't know what happened yet, because I have to talk, but we called him in. He didn't come in on that lap, so he was one lap later, and that put us out of sync. And then he did come in. He then obviously went through, parked himself. He obviously liked the look of the Red Bull tyres. But unfortunately, that process lost us the position to Sebastian. So fairly disastrous, and at that point, it's very easy for a team and the drivers to sync back to say, how do we go from 1-2 to whatever it was, 5th and 6th after what was a disaster. But both guys and the team just stayed focused, and it came good at the end, which is great.
Look, you stuck with the McLaren tyres. They were the right tyres in the end. They helped you to win this Grand Prix, and you've done it. Congratulations. An incredible race, and you finished at the front.
Yeah, no, great, and fantastic show. I mean, it must be one of the most exciting races. For me, I'm here, my voice is struggling at the moment, but it was just great. And now we've got to win some more, of course. But good to get the first one under our belt.
Thanks for the entertainment. Great to share it with you.
Pleasure. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. So the win goes to Lewis Hamilton. His teammate Jenson Button so unlucky at the end there, fighting to keep control of that car. Mark Webber nicked past him. Jenson Button finished 4th. Here he is.
I don't know if you can get much closer to a podium than that. Just tell us, are you disappointed? What are your emotions?
First of all, massive congrats to Lewis. Yeah, he drove a great race. It was one of those races where there's a lot of overtaking, a lot of action involved. So it was good fun to be a part of. But yeah, I wasn't quick enough. I really struggled to look after the rear tyres for some reason. Yeah, so fourth place. It's as good as I could get out of the car.
It's exciting for the viewers at home. It's exhausting for the viewers at home. Is it enjoyable from your seat?
It's enjoyable, yeah. But also you're a sitting duck. When people have got newer tyres, you can't do anything, because, for example, when Webber passed me, I mean, he was so much faster, and you really can't do anything. You try and fight back, but, you don't have the grip, so you don't have the braking power, you don't have the traction, so it's very tricky. But, yeah, tough afternoon for me. For some reason, I just didn't have the pace. That's it.
But after this little stint of races, from where you were looking before Australia to now, you must be much happier.
Yeah, I am, but I mean, you forget very quickly, don't you? And you always think about the future and this moment in time. And yeah, it was a tough afternoon for me. Could have been a bit better, but also could have been a lot worse. So fourth is okay.
And just finally, for drivers out there, is it almost a relief knowing that these Red Bulls aren't out of touch?
Yeah, it's also a relief when you finish the race and you've got people chasing you down. I'm sure Sebastian's relieved. But, strategy is getting strategy right is very important, as you can see by Webber finishing up behind his teammate. Sebastian started on pole, Webber was 18th, so it's really is amazing. But yeah, basically I wasn't quick enough today, and that's it. But fantastic job by Lewis and the whole team. I made it difficult for them at the first stop as well. I was actually looking down when I came into the pits and went into the wrong pit spot.
We did notice, but we weren't going to say too much about that. But it was just one of those things. You were just distracted at the time. Yeah,
I was looking down, and then when I look back up, I don't know. It just it wouldn't have actually changed my race at all. But I just made it a bit tougher for the guys.
Thanks, Jenson. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, on the flip side, Jenson might get himself a contact lens contract with somebody or something. We'll talk about that race with David Coulthard in a moment to get his thoughts, but let's just quickly speak to Christian Horner, who's joined us. Well, I said commiserations. When you're finishing two cars on the podium, I suppose it is commiserations compared to your recent form. A fascinating race.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, second and third is still a fantastic result. So, we made our commitment at the first stop to go the two stops. We thought we could make it work. And we came up 4 laps shy on making that strategy work for us today. And, it was a fascinating race. So nearly paid off for Sebastian. We made the decision based on him being P3 at the time, behind the McLarens. We felt it was the best way to beat them. And very, very nearly did it today. But still a great job for Seb, and what a recovery for Mark.
Obviously, with the benefit of hindsight, had you just copied or effectively mirrored their strategy, then would 3 stops have been enough for you today, or was fundamentally McLaren were just able to make better use of the tyres?
If we'd have made just 3 stops behind them, we'd have stayed behind probably both of them. So we decided to do something different to try and beat both of them. And we thought we could make it work. We came within 4 to 5 laps of making it work. And, P2 is still a great result. And effectively for Mark, we ran the race in reverse. We started him on the prime, and then as he went on to the softer tyres, he just got faster and faster on an aggressive 3-stop strategy.
It seems that Mark delivers 101% when he's on the back foot. That's a pretty impressive, and that's an understatement of the year, drive from 18th.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I said to him in the car, enjoy it. And it looked like he really did today. I mean, he for sure was driver of the day. I mean, the amount of passes he made, some great moves with Michael, with, Fernando and so on. And then to get the podium there at the end. He came close last weekend. And, he's really deserved that result today.
Well, we can see Sebastian's car just sitting prone behind you there. How can you make KERS work on this Red Bull? We've seen a couple of races now where not having KERS has really cost you. What can you do between now and Turkey to sort that out?
Well, KERS worked pretty well for the first half of the race, and then we became more intermittent with it usage in the latter parts of the race. We still need to improve on it. We've got 3 weeks between now and Istanbul to make sure that we've got it available on every lap.
So I'm guessing Seb couldn't defend from Lewis at the end there without KERS, is that right?
I think that the problem was Lewis, with the shape that his tyres were in, was so much quicker. It wasn't worth him fighting so hard.
Okay.
The points are important. It's a long championship, and he made him work for it, and for a couple of laps. But it was inevitable with the difference in grip, in the same way it was between Mark and Jenson at the end there.
Okay, well, I'm sure you're not elated by it, but it gives us a fascinating title battle as we head back to Europe.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks very much, Christian. Speak to you again shortly, and we'll get David's thoughts as well. But first, let's hear from three men, and all three of them did drive an incredible Grand Prix, gave you some fascinating and brilliant entertainment on this Sunday morning. Let's hear from them in the press conference.
Lewis, you made the gamble to keep back a fresh set of tyres. Was it the gamble that paid off for you today?
I think today, definitely the strategy that we came up with going into qualifying definitely helped. I think my new option tyres seemed to last a little bit longer than the guys in front. But I think it was quite a few things that came together, really. The pit stops were fantastic, which was good for us. I think the guys are always pushing to improve. And the car felt great, and I think it was just a real, just trying to nurse my tyres whilst trying to pick up pace. And it was one of the best races I've experienced, where at least this year, where guys are out in front of me and had to do quite a lot of overtaking. But real thumbs up to the guys back at the factory and in the garage. They really put their hearts into developing the car and making the car the best it can be every weekend, and it feels amazing to be able to bring it home and bring home a victory for them.
We saw your emotion at the end of the race. We didn't quite see your emotion at the start of the race. What was going on with your car? You only just made it to the grid, and how worried were you that you might not be able to start?
I don't think worried was coming into my thoughts, to be honest. I mean, I was in the car nice and early to go out, and then we had a problem where the car just wouldn't start. And I'm still not sure exactly what went on, but they had to take a lot of the bodywork off, and I knew there was 6 minutes to go. And then there was 2 minutes to go, and fortunately everything just came together very quickly. The guys did a great job, but of course, for me, it's very important for me to stay as calm as possible, because that reflects on all the guys in the garage. So I tried to stay positive, and they got the car out, which was most important.
Sebastian, let's turn to the start first for you. Beaten off the line by both McLarens, but you quickly got the lead back again. But did you feel at any stage that a two-stop strategy might have been the wrong choice today?
Well, I think the start was not the best we had this year. And on top of that, it seems that, for some reason, the left-hand side here is worse than the right-hand side. So, plus the fact that you turn right doesn't really help. But I wasn't doing, it was not a 100% good start, so I lost also the position to Lewis, who started behind me. Then it was about being patient. I think we treated the tires better in the first stint, and could have stayed out, but it doesn't make, there's no point in doing that, because you try to obviously pit earlier. So I came to the box, and obviously afterwards came out first, which was good, but was quite a surprise. Jensen in front of me went into my garage, and I just hope for him, to carry on. We had something similar 2 years ago with the Toro Rosso. I don't know what attracts people to stop in our garage, but yeah, fortunately it had no effect. The guys kept their heads cool, and we kept going. And as I said, we came out in the lead. And then I think we probably, tried too hard staying on 2 stops. So the middle stint, obviously, ideally should have been a bit longer, but surely in the end, you'll find yourself out there on the hard tire, and you can see, I saw Lewis coming closer and closer, and there was no point really. I tried to defend as much as I can without losing too much time to the guys behind, but he found his way past easily, and it was a difficult race for us. As I said, we did a couple of mistakes. On top of that, we had some problems, but still we finished second, so I'm very, very happy with that. First of all, congratulations to Lewis and to McLaren. They did a very good job, and it shows, you 1 second or, one race, you just, try something a bit different, and, you do mistakes, is natural, and there's someone else to beat you. So I think it was a good race for us, because we can learn a lot today. And I'm the only one with 2 stops up here, so there's surely something to look into tonight.
Briefly for us, just how difficult was it, given the lack of communication you had to the pit wall in the latter stages?
Yeah, it didn't make it easier, because obviously, usually you exchange information, how the tires are, what the other guys do, which tires they are on, and so on. So I asked a lot of questions, but didn't get any answer. So we had a problem with communication. On top of that, I don't know how much of that is shown. We had some problems with the curves in the race as well. So, as I said, it wasn't a trouble-free race. I mean, we see it, Mark had obviously a good race and a very good pace. So the pace was there. It was there all weekend. But, once we decided to go 2-stop, obviously you have to be patient, look after your tires, and when it just doesn't work, it doesn't work. So that's why I think we missed that one step today.
Turning to yourself, Mark, after qualifying 18th yesterday, you said, given your luck on the Saturday, you might get hit by a truck. It seems you drove that truck straight the way through the field today. A storming performance to third.
Yeah, it was an interesting Grand Prix. I think we decided to start on the Prime, the hard tyre in the first stint, which was, we know, not the most desired tyre for everyone in the field, as it doesn't really have the characteristics of a hard tyre in terms of sometimes duration and lots of things like that. So yeah, got that out of the way, but that was quite tricky actually, because even with the guys I was with, wasn't easy. Everyone was using the DRS at the same time, which we pretty much predicted because of the way the type of cars that were ahead of me were, how they qualified. So it wasn't easy still to come back through those guys, and I had a mistake in entry to turn 2 on my in lap, which the tyres were, basically I don't think there's much left of them, so I got the car back, and then we really started from there. But to still see P17 on your board after 15 laps or whatever it was, you think, how's this going to come? And then all of a sudden, I just felt comfortable with the car. Obviously had a few sets of tyres left from after qualifying, so that helped a bit. Maybe that's the best way to do it all the time, is not even take part in qualifying and then just go from there. But all jokes aside, I think the guys done an incredible job. It's a back-to-back race for us. It's clear we haven't had the smoothest run with my car, but they haven't given up, and that was a drive for them today and everyone at the factory. And again, congratulations to Lewis. It was good that someone finally, of course, it's said in the same team, but he's been on a phenomenal run, and we're all here together fighting for victory. So shame McLaren won in a way, but also we can't let Seb get too far away. So it was a good day for the racing, I think, and and good day for us in terms of points for the team.
Well, Mark Webber's described himself as a fighter, and indeed he had to fight today. So Lewis Hamilton, congratulations to him. He wins the Chinese Grand Prix. His teammate Jenson Button there finishing 4th. What a great day it was for Nico Rosberg. Could have been better, he just slipped back at the end there. Felipe Massa also putting in a fantastic performance to finish in front of Fernando Alonso yet again. Great to see Michael Schumacher going wheel to wheel with some of the other drivers today. And Paul di Resta, we'll hear from him in just a moment. He finished 11th in today's Grand Prix. Disappointment for Toro Rosso, great qualifying yesterday. It wasn't to be on the track, and once again, Team Lotus fighting with established teams in Formula One and beating them. Congratulations to them, beating those cars on the track today. And we finish off with Vitantonio Liuzzi, Narayan Karthikeyan, and finally Jaime Alguersuari. His best ever qualifying on Saturday, not a great finish for him on Sunday. And this is what today's result means for the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship. Sebastian Vettel's lead has been cut by Lewis Hamilton. It's now just 21 points between the two of them. Jenson Button following up just behind, with Mark Webber sitting 4th. And as far as the Constructors' Championship is concerned, at the moment Red Bull have 105 points, 20 points ahead of McLaren. And we're here outside McLaren now. If you look behind us, actually, they've just been watching the finish to today's race and cheering Lewis Hamilton on. And just an idea of how quickly Formula One continues. They've already got the flight cases out, ready to take all of this stuff back home to get to Turkey to gear up for the next Grand Prix. It's the sport that never sleeps, as we've told you before. We'll speak to David in just a moment, but first, let's hear from Paul di Resta. He finished 11th on the grid.
Well, Paul, a race of real sort of mixed fortune, I suppose. Just tell us your thoughts about it, because you were up in 7th at one point, you finished 11th.
Yeah, I mean, it was always going to be quite tough starting where we were. Again, we came very close to scoring points, but just missed out just at the end. The tyres had gone. I think the second stint we had to cut a bit short. We ran out of front left tyre, which was unfortunate, but I think having gone into the race with no heavy fuel runs maybe compromised us a bit, but I think overall I'm still very happy with how the weekend went, considering we qualified into Q3 and certainly came close again to scoring points.
We heard you talking quite early on in the race about you weren't sure what was going on at the rear of the car. Was that because of the heavy fuel?
It probably was. I think we didn't quite get the aero balance, and that's what compromises you at the start. But the second and third stints I think were pretty good, just a bit longer than expected, because we had to stop early to try and cover Michael, but it just wasn't to be. Maybe a 3-stop would have suited us better and pushed on a bit, but only time will tell in the simulations. But we've came here relatively strong in performance to where we've been, and I think we have to be very thankful of that.
Well, it wasn't Paul di Resta's greatest day in the office. He scored points in his first 2 races in Formula One, and this was the moment that sort of put pay to him chasing too many points today, David.
I failed to see what he did wrong in that situation. He had his car on the inside. He was being passed by Nick Heidfeld. Excuse me for having occasionally saying the name wrong. He was my reserve driver at McLaren several years ago, but I used to call him Nick.
Yeah.
I think that Paul didn't actually do anything wrong there. It was just a question of Nick trying to squeeze him a little bit on the inside, and they came together. Otherwise, it was a remarkably clean race.
Sure.
We have seen a lot of safety cars here in the past, an average of 0.9 of the Grand Prix we've had here, but today, no sign of any of that.
My Twitter feed was full of two things. People saying, tell David it's Nick Heidfeld. And also, can you take a look at Fernando Alonso, what's going on with his DRS? Now, we've taken a look at some of the footage, and you talked about it during commentary. It's quite clear, Fernando Alonso coming around turn 15 there, not a DRS zone, and he's able to open his rear wing.
Well, that was a great spot from whoever it was that picked up on that, but I failed to see what he would have done in the car. He knows it's not available to him at that point. It would be pointless, therefore, pulling the paddle. We know they've had difficulties with the DRS. A number of teams had. So I wonder if that's just a software issue or a mechanical issue with the actual activation. But the FIA will look at that. If there's no way Ferrari are able to circumnavigate the regulation, so that's clearly teething trouble.
I said to Martin Whitmarsh at the end of the race, did you know about Fernando Alonso's DRS? And he said, we won the race. When you finish in front of them, you don't really mind too much. Now let's just pop into the garage here, because this is what you get if you win the Grand Prix out here. You pick up a very tasty, a very large trophy, don't you, David? Were they this impressive in your day?
Well, I found out last night there's a 7 kilogram limit on the weight of a trophy, and I wonder if I can be cheeky and just feel, it's a long time since I'll put my mic down.
How does that feel?
That feels about 4.5 kilos to me, so they're well under. But they're obviously worried about drivers injuring themselves if they're not scared of them having more than a 7 kilogram trophy. Champagne still inside there. I remember seeing Lewis Hamilton pour his bottle in there on the podium, so that's a great moment, isn't it? Have you ever held her?
No, I never have, and yes, I know you have on quite a few occasions. 13 different times, did you know?
I was going to hold your mic so you could enjoy the moment.
I may well do that on the F1 forum, and in fact, if you press red, you can join us on the F1 forum today. We're off there now, and we want your tweets and we want your emails, and the team here are keen for David to wear the winning top. If you take a look actually round to the right-hand side, you can see what everybody wears when they win a race at McLaren. They all wear this. So we'll be talking to these guys on the F1 forum, but there's plenty more that you can see from the Grand Prix. There's a chance for you to relive the race a little bit later on today. The Chinese Grand Prix rerun at 3 minutes past. The Chinese Grand Prix highlights will be tonight, 7 o'clock on BBC Three and BBC High Definition. The London Marathon's already underway. It was a bit of a sprint out on track today. And finally, there is the snooker as well happening today, the World Championship. We're back in Turkey then in 3 weeks' time. We hope that you can join us there. But what a race it was today. 24 cars over 56 laps. Finally distilled down, David, to just 2 men and a few laps remaining. It all came down to the tyres. It all came down to Lewis Hamilton versus Sebastian Vettel. And Lewis picks up this trophy, his first of 2011. I think we all need a breather after that thriller. We'll see you in Turkey.
Who's gonna thrill me? Who's gonna hold me tight tonight?
They get ready to charge.
Why did I tell you I was going to Shanghai? I want to be with you tonight. Why don't you stop me when I talk about Shanghai? And I want to be with you tonight. Who's gonna kiss me? Who's gonna thrill me? Who's gonna hold me tight?
Mark Webber, a stunning performance. Lewis Hamilton brilliantly wins the Chinese Grand Prix.
Oh, that was amazing. Next time on Formula One, round 4, Turkey.